She said he wouldn't even look at her in the hallway that morning when she tried to talk to him. I felt this weird mix of satisfaction and guilt. James was facing consequences too, even if his life would be way less disrupted than ours. Laura kept checking her phone all evening like she expected him to text, but nothing came. She finally threw her phone on the couch and said she felt stupid for thinking he actually cared about her. I didn't say anything because what was there to say? I had my therapy session with Audrey the following afternoon and told her about the apartment hunting and the limbo of waiting for the retest. She asked how I felt about potentially being a father under these circumstances. I admitted I was scared, but also felt this strange sense of responsibility already. She nodded and said, responsibility didn't equal staying in a broken relationship. We talked about co-parenting without being romantic partners. She explained how I could be a good dad and still have boundaries with Laura. She said a lot of people confuse duty with love and end up miserable trying to force something that isn't working. That made sense to me in a way nothing else had. I left her office feeling clearer about what I needed to do. That night, Laura had what felt like her first moment of real honesty since this whole mess started. We were both in the living room and she suddenly put down her phone and looked at me. She said she needed to tell me something. I waited and she took a deep breath. She admitted she started the whole experiment because she wanted permission to pursue James without feeling guilty about cheating. She thought I would just date casually while she explored something real with him. She never expected me to actually connect with someone like Katie. Her voice cracked when she said Katie's name. I sat there processing this and realized it explained everything. The sudden proposal, the already made dating profile, the way she seemed surprised when I actually went out with someone. I thanked her for finally being honest. She looked shocked that I wasn't yelling. She asked if knowing the truth changed anything. I told her it actually made me more certain we shouldn't be together because we clearly wanted different things from a relationship. She started to argue but stopped herself. She asked what I wanted. I said I wanted honesty and respect, and a partner who didn't play games with my feelings. She nodded slowly and said she understood. We sat in silence for a while and it felt like something had shifted between us. Not fixed, but at least honest. At week 12, we went back to the lab for the second blood draw. The technician was the same woman from before and she remembered us. She said this one should work because there was more fetal DNA in Laura's bloodstream now. She drew the blood efficiently and told us results would take another 10 days. Laura thanked her quietly, and we left separately because she had to go to work. The tension in our apartment over the next week and a half was almost unbearable. We moved around each other like strangers, careful not to touch or make eye contact. I found myself staying late at work just to avoid being home. I spent my evenings browsing rental listings and finally found a decent sublet available in 3 weeks. The guy was going overseas for work and needed someone to take over his lease. The rent was reasonable and the place was furnished. I put down a deposit without telling Laura because I needed to move out regardless of the test results. Living together was making everything harder. I needed physical space to think clearly about whatever came next. When I told Laura about the sublet, she just nodded like she expected it. Then her family started calling. First her mom, then her sister Lexi, then even her aunt who I'd only met twice. They all had the same message. Laura needed support, and I shouldn't abandon her during this difficult time. They painted her as a victim of her own poor choices who deserved another chance. I listened politely to each of them, and then firmly explained I wasn't abandoning Laura or a potential child. I would be there for whatever co-parenting responsibilities came. But I also wasn't staying in a relationship built on lies and manipulation. Her mom got upset and said I was being selfish. I told her I needed to go and ended the call. The calls kept coming for a few days, but I stopped answering. Chase came over the following weekend to help me start packing. We worked methodically through my stuff, boxing up books and clothes and kitchen items I'd accumulated over 3 years.